Across the country, ordinary Americans from all walks of life are taking whatever measures necessary to prepare.
I'm preparing my family for the total destruction of the power grid.
The Yellowstone supervolcano.
A financial collapse.
And protect themselves.
When survival's the goal, it's into the spider hole.
Fast, 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 fast. Go, 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 go.
From what they perceive is the fast approaching end of the world as we know it.
So I'm gonna use like this.
Next, we go inside the lives of 3 committed preppers
Whoever was there has left or they've got a problem.
who have devised extensive plans
This is Redneck Faraday cage.
You know I love you, and this is because I want to protect you, Nathan.
gone to great lengths, and made huge personal sacrifices to ensure their very survival.
You just gotta keep telling yourself to keep going.
The experts will assess their extreme preps and decide if they have what it takes to face Armageddon
And there you go.
and to survive.
Appetizing.
There it is, folks.
This is Doomsday Preppers. Behind the closed doors of this cookie-cutter home, there's a closely guarded family secret. To their neighbors, former construction specialist Barry, his girlfriend Pink, and his son Cole are just another regular family living on a suburban block.
I'm fortunate because no one in this neighborhood even knows this is here.
Some people call it extreme. I don't really.
And this is going down below, right?
Yeah, that goes down below.
It's kind of like camping, except we're less than 10 feet from our house.
Carefully concealed underneath Barry's garage floor is a concrete pod that he calls an urban foxhole, a place to survive the end of the world.
This urban foxhole, this is much more than a safe room. You can survive almost any kind of disaster in this.
Barry's foxhole is water, fire, and chemical resistant. The 8x8x8 living space is constructed from concrete and formed into the strongest geometric shape in the world, a sphere.
In the beginning stages of inventing this pod, Barry and I used to sit in the garage, even to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and we used to take chalk and draw on the garage floor.
The family built the foxhole in complete secret, digging out 100 cubic yards of dirt by hand, then disposing of it in a dump trailer without ever opening the garage door.
It'd be bad if we're sitting here doing this and someone with the garage door opener pulls up and opens the garage door on us and reveals us.
I was so passionate about it because I knew and understand the need of it.
Barry first had the idea for the urban foxhole 4 years ago when, along with millions of other Americans, he watched his savings disappear in the 2008 economic crash.
I lost everything. You know, I was a week from retirement, like so many other people around the country, who have no retirement anymore. It really makes you stop and think, who's going to take care of your family if you can't?
From that point forward, Barry decided that instead of building back his 401k, he would start prepping.
We'll leave here, but we'll inventory it.
Okay. I have the list right there.
I have 5 children. My oldest boy, Jerry, is 29. He's been key to developing this with me. My other kids are kind of, Dad, you're sort of nuts. But I'm not. Jerry?
Yeah.
Can you look in the storage space and make sure I put some towels in there?
You got it.
Some people may say that we're obsessed with prepping, but I'd rather be safe and called obsessed than be naive in not being able to protect the people I care about.
And we have a little extra because inevitably someone's going to show up we have to take care of.
Barry and Pink have amassed enough food and water for 5 people to survive in the foxhole without going outside for 60 days.
Has bacon. You'll like that.
I get all the bacon.
A time period they see as critical for their worst-case scenario.
I think the world's never been more dangerous. I think that's why prepping is so important these days. I think one of the most likely catastrophes is a social and economic collapse that comes from an EMP device that goes off.
An EMP, or electromagnetic pulse attack, can be caused by a nuclear blast detonated high in the atmosphere above the United States. The electrical energy surge released from such a detonation has the potential power to take out any electronic device in its path.
And there's a lot of people that don't like us. An EMP device is the best way to knock the big bully giant down, and we'll be back into the 18th century virtually overnight.
A recent government report suggests that because an EMP attack could bring down the electrical grid, it is a scenario that could threaten multiple systems of infrastructure, including food, water, emergency services, transportation, gas, telecommunications, and finance.
If the catastrophe goes on long enough, you are going to see people just turn against each other. We plan on staying right here, protecting our stores, not letting anybody know we have it. As far as anyone's concerned, we'll be suffering just like them.
But to bunker down without electricity, Barry and Pink have to think of some doomsday practicalities, like toilets. All of America's 19,500 sewage plants rely on electrical pumps.
So if an EMP device goes off, we're not going to have any electricity, which means no city water, no sewage, nothing's going to run. And we have to be prepared to store our own waste. This is our toilet for the urban foxhole.
This is all the sanitary. When it drops down in here, that actually closes back. It seals it. Once the pressure goes down and it passes by here, it seals it off.
Oh, I see. I see. So it doesn't take much weight to move that?
No. So there's like 780 of these that actually coil up. When you're all done with it, this bag right here, you can take it out and cut it off, and it's gonna look like poop sausage. You don't have to handle your waste.
The key to it is storing your liquids and solids separately. If the liquids and the solids are mixed together, it'll ferment much quicker. After a couple days, the bag would expand and it'll want to pop. That would be bad.
I'd rather use this in a Ziploc bag. I am a girl, that would be a little awkward.
Barry and Pink have spent over $70,000 preparing for the worst. But as of yet, they have not had a full dry run of foxhole living. So this weekend, he is putting himself and his family to the test.
Let's run a drill as if there was an EMP device and social chaos is going on. We've never stayed a full night in the urban foxhole, so 60 days is going to be a real trial. We need to get a feel for what it's going to be like. I spent 7 years in the military. There's just no substitute for training. When people know what to do, it just moves so much cleaner and faster.
I'll stand watch tonight.
Okay, you'll take the outside watch with the radio. We'll have a watch stander in the main room of the house as if we were watching out for the roving bands of neighbors looking for something to eat.
While Pink stands watch, Cole, Jerry, and Barry will cook, eat, and live in the foxhole for one night.
Do you remember what you're supposed to do?
Yeah. Go to the laundry room, shut the door, go into the garage, and then lock it from the outside and then head into the pod.
Cole is quite a character. I still like to say he's 10. He reminds me he's 11. He is the biggest joy. Why is that important? Do you remember?
Yeah, because if somebody's chasing you, they don't have the key, it'll take them a while to get through there.
That's right. Good job.
Okay, this is our perimeter alarm. I'm going to set it, and when it's activated, that'll begin our drill.
Knowing that in a real emergency an intruder could be chasing them, Barry, Jerry, and Cole need to get into the foxhole as quickly as possible.
Got it.
Check, are you in the pod and secure?
Okay, we need to make sure that we have the kitchen stuff, what we need to cook a meal tonight.
This place is awesome. I guess.
Is it still going to be awesome 8 hours from now?
No.
Without a dedicated air supply, the foxhole would run out of oxygen in just 6 hours. So in case an EMP does take down the grid, Barry is teaching Cole how to use his hand crank air system.
You're going to mount this right on top, right there.
Okay.
And then you're just going to use the handle and pull up and down and up and down. Got it calculated out to where every 10 hours a grown man needs 80 cubic feet of airspace to breathe.
Barry has planned out each detail of foxhole living with military precision.
Spaghetti meatballs. That's what we're having, okay?
I would take anything over Dad having chili tonight.
We would need to see how many calories are in this. Divide this by 3.
To survive even when resting, each person must eat at least 1,200 calories a day.
For the end of the world, this is a Thanksgiving meal right here. You could be eating bugs outside. Give it a try. How many calories is that?
260.
260, and there's 3 of us, right? All right, you gonna leave a little for the other survivors?
Doubt it.
Right on. Cool.
What it comes down to is surviving the other people that are in there and how much they drive you crazy.
To spend 60 days down here, I'll bet it'd be torture.
500 to get on the board.
Keeping guard at night is scary.
You guys play a game and I'm going to sleep, all right?
Because you don't know what you're expecting. So there are people going to be breaking into your house? Is there going to be tanks going down the road? You have no idea. But it's gratifying in the same way because you're the first one to tell the people that you love to stay in, stay safe, and lock up and don't come out.
Living for 60 days with less than 13 square feet per person is a challenge, even for a seasoned prepper. But where Barry's post-apocalyptic plan gets really interesting is after 60 days. When their stores run out, it's either bug out or die. To survive an electromagnetic pulse that could take down much of America's electrical grid, Barry has built a secret concrete pod underneath his garage floor called the urban foxhole.
Toast is clear from the top. Are you guys up and ready?
Roger, we're up and ready.
Last night, he and his kids, Jerry and Cole, did their first emergency bug-in drill, spending an entire night under the hatch, while Barry's girlfriend, Pink, stood guard above.
Rise and shine, it's morning time.
Good morning.
Good morning, how did it go?
Good, you guys. Let's roll out. It went great.
But Barry's weekend of drills is not over. He's now eager to test out stage 2 of his Doomsday plan.
Well, we're prepared to stay right here in the urban foxhole and use this for 60 days. My worst case scenario is if it lasts more than 60 days and things just don't seem safe, we will have to leave.
While some disasters have been shown to bring people together, experts are concerned that an EMP could be an exception to the rule because key repairs to the electrical grid could take from 6 months to a year, leaving millions of people without heat, water, and transport. So when the going gets rough, Barry wants to be ready to bug out of danger.
We're going to start on our first leg up here. We're going to get to the sailboat, which is here. If it goes past 60 days, we'll make our way to sea. Because I think you stand a much better chance surviving at sea than you do on land.
Tonight, Barry and his family will run a practice bug out to Puget Sound, where he has a sailboat moored.
Okay? Yeah. All right, that's what we'll do.
All right.
In preparation, Barry and his son Jerry are burying supplies along their route.
So that cedar tree would be a good mark for us. This will be our first stop to the sailboat here. Okay. And let's just make sure that no one's coming up the trail before we leave the trail.
Okay.
This is going to be our very first geostash.
Geostashes are strategically hidden containers of food and water that will allow the family to bug out without being weighed down by heavy packs.
So our path between the urban foxhole and the sailboat is marked with containers full of food, water, and energy drinks.
Barry and Jerry will use a GPS device to map the coordinates of their stash. But in case the satellites fail them, they also record distinctive visual markers.
Mark it on our GPS. We're coming into the pitch dark, and this might be really hard to see. So, wait a minute. Shh, shh, shh. Let's keep going.
All right, let's bury this bad boy. Good, let's get some cover on it. Make it look like nobody was here.
I'm good with that.
That looks good, okay.
Watch those thorns on the way out.
Cole, come on, come on.
Because an EMP could render computer chips in most vehicles useless, the family planned to travel the 15 miles to their boat on foot.
It'll be like a real video game adventure, only in real life.
Except for all the monster killing and stuff.
60 days after an EMP attack, the 17,500 people living in Barry's suburb won't have had electricity or running water for 2 months. So Barry wants to prepare for a highly dangerous and potentially volatile environment.
The safest way to ever move when you're in danger is to move at dark. That's why special forces operate at night. That's why the military operates at night. The cover of darkness can be your best friend.
Let's cut across this way.
The family travels in single file because it allows them to naturally camouflage themselves in darkness. They appear as one person from the front and rear.
Okay, I was off to the right.
Keep going, Cole. I know you're tired, but you just got to keep going, all right?
2 hours into the hike, they are close to their first geostash point.
No, it's around here. Well, we're looking for a cedar tree. Oh, I heard it.
Great, this is the spot. We got it.
I heard it.
Oh, all right, this is like gold.
Close your eyes and put your knife away.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, make sure you hydrate, because it's gonna be a long trip.
How you doing, Cole?
Good.
Good? We gotta hurry, so try to get that down.
Leave the container here.
Just put them aside.
The family still has hours of hiking ahead of them, but once they reach the ocean, how long will they be able to survive on the open sea?
And let's cut across.
To prepare for an EMP attack that could take out the electrical grid and plunge society into chaos, Barry Knowles and his family are testing out an overnight bug out to their sailboat.
We'll be able to kind of creep silently. We'll be dressed in dark clothing. We're not going to be easily noticeable.
After 15 miles of hiking, and just as dawn breaks, they reach the boatyard. From here, they will head to the nearest uninhabited island and set up a temporary camp.
I have a couple of islands that are completely uninhabited in the North Puget Sound, and we'll immediately set sail for one of those. This is our new home. Now, until we find a safer place to be, this is where we're going to be. This is much better than being in a town with 2 million people, trying to avoid other people who are desperate. This feels good to me.
Hey, Cole, what are you thinking?
Catch a fish.
What are you gonna do with it?
Eat it.
Eat it? That sounds good.
With an unlimited supply of seafood and a boat stocked with 2,000 pounds of supplies, Barry and Pink's biggest challenge in the ocean is not food, but water.
So why can't we drink salt water? Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember? It makes us dehydrate.
Oh,
Makes
yeah,
your-
salt.
Makes your brain
thirsty.
swell. Makes you hallucinate.
Drinking seawater in large quantities would result in kidney failure and eventually death. So in the middle of the ocean, a good filtration system is key to survival.
So I learned how to do this in the military when I used to evaporate water for ships. So we've got that. So we've got the salt water from the ocean in here, and we're heating it. Steam vapor's coming off of it. It's coming into these condensation tubes right here, recooling back into water. And here comes a little bit right now. There, see, get a little bit at a time here. You can taste it, it's hot. Just take a little tiny sip, all right? All right. Is it good? Is it good? It works.
All right.
That's how we'll make our fresh water.
Cool.
Until we find some other source. I'm very patriotic, so it'd be a very difficult thing for me to sail away from the United States. I would do so to save my family, but it would be heartbreaking.
To know that Cole, he can be safe and he can grow up and he can have a life because now he's protected in case a disaster happens. It is the most amazing, heartfelt thing I could probably think of.
The experts, practical preppers, believe your 60-day food and water supplies are adequate preparations for a short-term bug-in.
I agree.
Okay.
That was our plan, to survive the initial attack.
However, your shelter may be inadequate for long-term survival. The size of it does not allow you to store huge amounts of prepping supplies, and your items left in the house are unsecured and easily looted.
I agree with that assessment. It wasn't designed for long-term.
Also, your boat may be damaged or stolen or not serviceable, creating a potential disaster in your bug-out plan.
That's always a chance we have to take. Will the boat still be there because maybe people have torn it apart to burn it for fuel?
1,700 miles away from Barry in the deep Midwest, Steve Pace is a retired Army sergeant who served his country for 3 decades. Now, he's spending his golden years with his wife Martha in the small farming community of Campbell, Missouri. Population, 2,165.
The people that are in this community are honest, they're hard workers, we know everybody, we keep an eye on each other's places, we work together as a community.
Friendly neighbors are not the only reason Steve moved to Campbell a few years ago. He relocated specifically to prepare for a high-altitude nuclear explosion that would cause the catastrophic failure of our nation's power grid.
There's no doubt about it, the biggest threat to our civilization is a loss of the electrical grid. I personally believe that either North Korea, China, possibly Iran, will attempt to shut down the grid by a nuclear-delivered electromagnetic pulse over central United States.
An EMP would destroy electronic devices, including transformers, which are a central component to the country's fragile power infrastructure.
All the transformers will be going off like popcorn popping. When it happens, you'll see a bright light in the sky, and then it'll throw the keys out of your pocket because they'll be burning your leg. Then it's gone, but the damage is done. We're looking at 1 to 2 years without power.
Steve knows that if an EMP occurred, communication devices would be damaged immediately. His first plan is to protect his crank radio and walkie-talkies in a Faraday cage, so he can broadcast survival advice to his fellow Campbell residents.
99% of the people don't even know what a Faraday cage is, let alone know to go put their radio in there.
A Faraday cage is a metal container that acts as a shield against electromagnetic waves by forcing the electrical current around the structure.
Leave the rest of them.
It is common for preppers to spend hundreds of dollars on Faraday cages, but Steve's is built from a garbage can.
This is a redneck Faraday cage. You don't need a lot of expensive gear to be a prepper. The more you spend on a Faraday cage, the less it'll probably work.
Steve and Martha know exactly how to assemble a Faraday cage, but they have never before tested its effectiveness.
I'm fixing to test this Faraday cage. Hey, Tony, I'm gonna test this Faraday cage. You wanna come watch?
I'll come watch and you can tell me what's Faraday cage.
Steve and his brother Tony are applying the electrical current of a 12-volt truck battery to the trash can, which contains his crank radio and walkie-talkies. If improperly connected, an automobile battery can explode.
Hold this in.
Is there any danger of the battery doing anything?
We will step back. Got a negative clamp to it. I can hear it. It's popping. We're going to give it about 10 seconds.
Okay.
An EMP wouldn't last no longer than that. I mean, it's more like a, you know, I mean, that's the way it happens.
And if it works,
Okay.
the electronics come out and they work.
They should.
Okay.
Yes.
Open it up, see what's going on.
Nothing blew up in there.
Nope. They're running, too. I can hear them. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. EMP is over. Lights are out. Night-night.
Nothing Steve does is going to surprise me. I'm used to him having a box of gas masks in the corner. I've seen his chemical suits.
If a nuclear weapon were detonated in the Earth's atmosphere, Steve believes that the fallout from the explosion would descend to the ground. He knows radioactivity is invisible, so he's training himself in how to use a Geiger counter.
The only way I'm going to know that there's any radiation around is with the Geiger counter. You have to trust the Geiger counter.
The effects of high exposure become visible quickly. One absorbed dose of radiation is called a rad.
If you're standing in 1 rad per hour radiation, 50 hours of that will kill you.
Steve, that is really an interesting looking garb you have on.
Georgine, I'm checking for radiation.
If Steve detected unsafe levels of radiation after an EMP, he plans to transmit this information to the Campbell community.
I hope the ham radio at the police station still works so we can notify that we have radiation here. If it's very high, we have to leave because you can't stay. That's simple.
Do we have any?
No, you're safe. We have no radiation today.
Good. Good. I'm so thankful you look out for me.
You're a good neighbor. We like to look out for everybody.
His mind is always working, always, and coming up with solutions just in case. He looks ahead and plans ahead, and that's what I like about my neighbor, Steve.
I have an internal need to be responsible for my environment. Is that responsibility or is it just common human decency? I don't know, but I've got a heavy dose of it. A few years ago when I moved here, people knew I was a prepper because I would tell them. I'm sure they considered me Chicken Little for a while, but they got a wake-up call 2 years ago.
In 2009, Campbell had a severe ice storm, snapping power poles and destroying transmission lines. 125,000 residents in the region lost electricity, some for up to 30 days.
Now the people, when they see me on the streets, they say, hey, I got me some oil lamps. I've got me some batteries and flashlights. I'm contagious or something. Everybody around me's turning into preppers.
Steve wants his prepping message to spread beyond friends and neighbors. He would like the entire community to prepare for an EMP, so he's heading right to the top of Campbell's chain of command. Steve Pace believes that an electromagnetic pulse will soon destroy the nation's power grid, and he's determined to persuade those in charge of his small Missouri town to prepare for the worst.
I've talked to the mayor and the representative from Missouri State Law Enforcement. They're going to meet me at City Hall. We're going to discuss the EMP. This town's been without power. That's the way we need to do it, too.
Steve's friend and local state trooper Dennis is joining him in his first face-to-face meeting with the mayor.
Hello, is Mayor here? How you doing?
How are you, sir?
Long time no see.
Yeah, good seeing you.
You ready for a little get-together, the meeting?
Yes, yes.
An electromagnetic pulse is going to knock out the grid, no doubt about it. What I would like to discuss, what can we do to prepare for long-term outage as compared to the trial run we had 2 years ago, which we did quite well. We had water and sewer, and that made all the difference in the world.
Water supply systems are dependent on electricity. During the ice storm, Campbell was able to maintain these vital public works because they had purchased backup generators that run on diesel fuel.
We not only did that for the water and the sewer, but we also have one for the police station,
right,
the community building, and the city hall.
Long-term EMP, we're looking at 6 months to a year because of all the transformers blown.
Government officials have found over 300 transformers in the country's power grid that could be permanently damaged in a severe EMP and leave 40% of Americans without electricity indefinitely.
If this thing is a 6 month to a year process, to be realistic, I think it would be the biggest mess that you could ever imagine. I don't think any community, no matter how big, could handle the situation.
I don't know if you can prepare for that. I really don't. I mean, as a rule, goodwill is short-lived.
Yes.
I mean, as a rule, because you're going to have areas and they're going to protect what they have with everything they have to keep it. It's as simple as that.
Steve fears that masses of people from the nearby powerless cities will invade Campbell in search of food and water.
The groups, gangs that's coming out of the cities, they're offensive people that are looking to take our stuff, our assets.
I don't think there's enough of us to stop that from happening at all.
Steve knows that Campbell's small police force is not big enough to control marauders, so he plans to help them protect and serve.
You don't go into combat without water, beans, and bullets. Whoever was there has left, or they've got a problem.
Not even radiation will stop him from safeguarding his community.
Just because you're in a contaminated area doesn't mean somebody's not wanting your stuff.
Steve recently began target practice wearing an Israeli civilian gas mask.
About an inch high.
Although it is designed with large eye openings and he has 30 years of marksmanship skills, acquiring a target is difficult.
Acquire the target and lose it. Well, I'm not such a good shot with that mask on, am I? I'm thinking I'm just going to have more practice. I'm a little surprised how difficult it was.
If the assault on Campbell gets serious, Steve has also been prepping an EMP-proof getaway vehicle.
I've got a four-wheel bike. I put a motor on it.
Because an EMP would disable all modern vehicles, Steve chose a commercial quadricycle that can not only carry multiple people, but also hundreds of pounds of supplies.
Does look a little silly, but I don't want to walk 20 miles to get rice when I can ride 20 miles.
The 1-horsepower motor has a mechanical ignition system that would withstand an EMP surge, and it runs on alternative energy sources.
It'll run on vodka, whiskey, anything over 100 proof, it'll run on. It really is, too.
Today, Steve is assessing the motor's condition to make sure it is operating at peak performance.
How you doing?
He has enlisted the help of Dennis to track his speed.
I need to be able to go faster than somebody can run. I'm shooting for a top speed. That's all I know. I hope it's 20.
Hey, there you go.
You'd be surprised what one horse will do. And there he goes.
Speed should show up in this window right here. Oh, there you go.
What was the top speed you saw?
Got you one time at 12 mile an hour is
12?
what it was.
The average person can run 10 miles an hour, making Steve's bike just fast enough to dodge potential assault.
Yeah, you know, when he's trying to outrun a horde of people, you know, there might be that jackrabbit in there that's going to snatch him up before he can get away.
To maintain waterworks in an emergency, Steve knows that Campbell has 5,000 gallons of diesel fuel to operate their backup generators. And Steve has an 80-day reserve of water for him and Martha. But if these supplies ran out, he has a last resort plan.
Kind of looks like I was drinking beer last night. There's a head on that.
Steve Pace is willing to go to any length to prepare for an EMP attack and a resulting grid-down situation. And if his small town's water pumps stay down indefinitely, he knows he may need to resort to desperate measures.
Kind of looks like I was drinking beer last night. There's a head on that. There it is, folks.
Steve and Martha would filter their own urine using a portable charcoal water filter. The charcoal is porous and catches impurities as the liquid passes through the filter, which Steve hopes will make his urine safe to drink.
It's still got a slight yellow tint to it.
Just a tinge.
That's a far cry from what it was when it came out as a sample, wasn't it?
Land, yes.
Drinking the unfiltered urine of a healthy person would keep someone alive for a maximum of 2 days.
I claim it's not urine now. Now it is a clear, almost clear, clean, purified liquid water.
I'm amazed.
Tastes like chlorinated water.
Really?
That simple. Taste it. Just put it on your lips.
If this was your last resort, you're going to do it to survive. Here's cheers to last resort.
The main reason I am a prepper is for family, community, freedom, and justice. Preparing will ease your mind instead of producing fear.
Steve, the experts, practical preppers, believe you have a wide range of innovative skills that will benefit you after a nuclear EMP attack. However, you need to develop a backup water plan, such as a rain catchment system, so you are sufficiently covered.
I do have a water catchment system, but it's not deployed.
Also, you need to plan for the eventuality that in dire circumstances, your community could fall apart.
I know the people in this community, and 90% of them are going to stand arm in arm with me. We have to believe that we can overpower the 10% that may want to take over, so to speak. Since National Geographic was here, the city of Campbell is in the process of purchasing 15 transformers. We'll have them on hand and ready to go 1 second post-event if we need to.
While there are many prominent political figures concerned about the possibility of an electromagnetic pulse crippling the United States' infrastructure, most experts believe that such an attack is unlikely. The small town of Fort Mill, South Carolina. An ordinary suburban street. Laura Kunze goes through normal morning rituals. Proper shoes. The perfect matching necklace. Preparing a healthy breakfast for her husband Brian and son Nathan. But for Laura, all is not right. She worries that something deadly is in the air.
I'm preparing for an avian flu pandemic.
Avian flu, or H5N1, is a strain of the influenza virus that is highly contagious in bird populations around the world. Humans usually contract avian flu through direct contact with birds, but in 2006, avian flu was passed between humans in a village in Indonesia. For Laura, this was a game changer.
Pandemics are the only disaster without boundaries. It's not something that you can escape. If one human is sick, they can carry that virus across the world within hours. And every person they come in contact with has the potential to also carry that virus.
Laura spends every day preparing for an avian flu outbreak that would claim millions of lives.
I think I have a greater awareness of the potential of disasters, including pandemics, just because of my desire to make sure that my family is protected.
So just like the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, Laura pays extremely close attention to any outbreak of avian flu around the world.
I research it on a daily basis. I have apps available on my iPad. I've got an RSS feed that gives me the latest information on the avian flu. There are small pockets of infection. It is not yet mutated to a point where it can go from human to human rapidly.
But she's not only tracking infection risks from abroad. Laura keeps a close watch on what happens in Fort Mills. One unfortunate change she's noticed is the increase in the local bird population.
This is the place where it could all begin, with one sick bird. It could happen today.
Open bodies of water and wild water fowl are considered natural hot zones for the avian flu virus. Infected birds may not show signs of infection. It only takes one mutation for the virus to pass from bird to human.
The geese population in this area specifically has probably tripled since 2006, and it's more of a problem now with their droppings.
Laura doesn't just worry about the avian flu. She's actively preparing her community to fight it.
Bye. See you later.
We talk with people who say, oh, I'm not prepared at all, what would I do? If they can't go down to the store and buy food that day, or whatever it might be, they're done.
Through her small business, she caters to the needs of local preppers, with everything from bug-out bags to face masks to water filters.
I was in the Coast Guard for 8 years, and it really helped me in being ready at all times and understanding really what that means. I love discussing goals with my customers and helping them with a solution that's right for their family.
Excuse me, could you help me with this?
Absolutely. This is the filter for virus without chemical. And the great thing about that is that during a pandemic, you're going to want something like this to filter out virus.
So you can just take dirty water out of a mud hole or something and put it through there and it comes out good?
Absolutely. Would you like to test it out?
Yeah. That'd be great.
Preparing for a pandemic, it goes beyond a mask. Our infrastructure could break down.
It is estimated that 1.9 million people would die during an avian flu pandemic.
People don't just, at the end of that pandemic, get up from their sickbed and walk out. Some of them may not ever return to their jobs.
Utilities, like water treatment plants, could lose large numbers of personnel, leading to acute shortages in services. Having a reliable system for water purification is critical because the body is easily dehydrated during an influenza infection.
Watch where you're stepping. There's a lot of droppings everywhere.
These have all those geese around here.
Infected birds can transmit avian flu through their bodily fluids and feces, where the virus can survive for up to 100 days. Any contact can make a person vulnerable to infection.
The way that this filter works is by gravity, so the higher the height we're going to get, the greater the flow that we're going to get for the water.
Laura's filter uses a process similar to kidney dialysis to pull out bacteria and viruses, among other contaminants.
Here we go.
Salud. Actually good.
Tastes wonderful.
Very good.
Yeah.
Here's to the geese.
One of the most important sources that your family's going to need is water. So that's going to be really important that your family's not drinking contaminated water.
Laura believes she will be the last line of defense between her family and the avian flu. But will her family survive her preps?
I'm freezing. Why do we have to do this again?
Disaster doesn't wait for warm weather.
Laura Kunze believes it's only a matter of time before an avian flu pandemic sweeps the globe.
With a pandemic, there's a potential of that happening at any moment.
She's prepared to provide her own water supply in the absence of utilities, and Laura has a serious plan to ensure her home will remain a safe place.
In the event of a pandemic, our home, if we don't plan properly, could be a prison. But if we plan properly and have the right supplies, it's going to be a fortress.
Today, Laura has enlisted the help of a nurse to lend her expertise in building effective and thorough decontamination measures.
Hi, I'm Marianne.
Hi, Marianne. Nice to meet you.
So we need to set up a decontamination site.
Okay. How do we get started?
We need a hose. We need a kiddie pool, some stakes, a shower curtain.
With deadly contagion potentially wafting through the air, each home should have its own decontamination site near entryways to stop germs from getting inside.
We always wear heels with our decontamination suit.
A disposable hazmat suit can limit Laura's exposure to the avian flu virus. And because suits like this one are made from lightweight plastic, they are an affordable prepper resource, making them easy to stockpile.
Pandemic has happened. You two have been exposed.
I'm not.
No, I'm not exposed.
You built this decontamination shower because you're not going back in that house with those germs.
I'm Dad. You're in. Sorry, buddy.
Overruled.
In the real event, you take everything off.
H5N1 virus can be carried from one area to another on clothing and shoes, especially the soles, as one can unknowingly step on a contaminated surface. Exposed garments should be decontaminated or destroyed.
I'm freezing. Why do we have to do this again?
Disaster doesn't wait for warm weather. Take this.
That's antibacterial soap. You use that on the outside only, not in the house. Wash your hair with it.
Influenza viruses are relatively weak outside a host's body. Thoroughly scrubbing with a common soap is sufficient to kill any influenza virus present on skin and hair.
Still wondering why my mom's not in here. She tries to get me to play guinea pig, but normally I get out of it one way or another. I don't know why I'm not quite so lucky this time.
The next step after decontamination is to change into clean clothing and foot protection to avoid further spread of the virus.
Can I go inside now?
You can, but the drill's not over. There's one more step, the quarantine room.
The third and final step would be to create a quarantine room to isolate suspected carriers. Today, the United States has 20 quarantine stations at entry points around the country.
Don't touch that.
And now, Laura is building the 21st station in her home.
If you were really exposed, you'd have to be in quarantine for 2 weeks.
So I don't have to go to school for 2 weeks?
Unfortunately, you're gonna have to go to school. This is just a drill.
Avian flu symptoms can take anywhere from 3 to 14 days to manifest. Given the highly contagious nature of the virus, in a pandemic scenario, it is important to keep suspected carriers isolated during that time.
You're going to see only your mom, who's a designated caretaker. You will not be seeing your dad.
So I have to just sit in here by myself and do nothing?
You want to make sure there's no air coming in or out of the room. We're going to do the plastic over the doors.
To create a physical barrier between the virus and the rest of the family, Laura can hang any type of plastic sheeting, from drop cloths to shower curtains.
We're doing 2 barriers. This helps to isolate the virus even more than just one to keep it out.
By hanging a double barrier, Laura is building a makeshift contamination control room.
So it's just an extra layer of protection.
Exactly.
Have a good night.
Night.
Love you.
Love you too.
She will leave her contaminated clothing in the clean room before exiting Nathan's quarantine room to limit the spread of the virus throughout the house.
Mom? Coming back, right? Mom? We have to stay here all night?
Laura, the experts, practical preppers, think you need to have stored at least 6 months of water for drinking, hygiene, and cooking.
I feel like the filter solution that we have in place right now is sufficient for my family's needs.
Also, you may want to rethink your footwear in the event of a real emergency.
I may be wearing my heels, but if I have to, I'll just take out my chainsaw blade and cut them off and be on my way.
The World Health Organization says that influenza pandemics can cause severe social, economic, and political stress. But while historically they have continued to occur, their appearance and severity is unpredictable.